Hello, everyone. So, again, this is a request by one of you guys, one of my dearest clients. So, basically, she was asking me to talk about, this is based on, I believe, Leora's work. So, she was reading, Angel, I think Lyora. I'm sorry if I pronounce, I apologies if I mispronounce her name, but just basically asking me to give my own perspective on her book and about the whole lion and eagle. So I actually went to, you know, I went to connect to my higher self. I went to, you know, deeply think about what she could mean by what she said. I haven't read a book, so again, it's not a direct reflection of what it is, but this is my perspective again. So I believe she's talking about the inner duality that lives within us, and and the thing is, I think she deduces that the real union begins when you awaken to the lion and eagle within yourself. So I thought, okay, let's go deeper and instead of only answering the question to my client and who requested I do a discourse on it. So let's actually look into understanding the inner duality on our own twin flame journeys, right? So, what is the lion and eagle, and what is the push and the pull, and what is the fire in the sky? So, this steps on, mirroring, right? Like twin flame mirroring and what it all is about. So, when your DM pushes you away or pulls you in, or vice versa, this dynamic is already inside of us, because this is what we do to ourselves on a daily basis. uh, Sometimes we love ourselves, sometimes we don't really love ourselves, sometimes we are drawn to parts of ourselves, sometimes we wish that those parts never exist. So that's exactly what's going on. So one part of us craves for love, connection, spirituality, a deeper sense of perception. And then the other part is just afraid. That is the part that operates from the mind. It's afraid of annihilation, afraid of being totally destroyed, rejection, losing control, figuring out what life is about, what love is about, everything. So, this is the lion versus eagle, which I believe Lyra talks about in a book. So I feel the lion, as she mentions in her book. Again, I didn't read a book, but I managed to get hold of a summary for the sake of this discourse, because I maybe I'll do another video after reading a book, but I haven't, so I can only give you my opinion of the inner duality. So as I was saying, the lion, oops, sorry, apologize for that. I'm in the midst of posting my video. So I was just checking on that. The internet is very, very slow as well. So it's deeply frustrating. But anyway, that's the beauty of being a feminine brand. Anyway, going back to the lion and the eagle. So the lion tends to represent, I would say, the physical world, the root chakra, loyalty, heart-led courage. It pushes one with the desire, the will, the urgency to become better. Whereas the eagle is more of the macro perspective, it comes from the soul's higher view. And that's why the eagle, right? Because the lion is right in the ground, and the eagle has got the freedom of flying everywhere it wants to. So the eagle is about detachment, the lion is about attachment. We can say that. So the eagle pulls back to protect and to observe, and again to avoid merging too deeply. So in this regard, my perspective, the eagle can be considered our dearest divine masculines, and the lion can be considered the divine feminine. But now let's bring it inside. So the lion reflects the inner feminine, and the eagle reflects the inner masculine. So that is the reason why our soul kind of designed this internal polarity so that consciousness wise we can evolve, we can shatter the matrix, we can shatter basically Maya. So it's not meant to torture us, of course. So let's look into how this push and pull shows up in our daily life. So this is really, really not about a romantic dynamic. So you may want to launch a new path, but then you sabotage it. So that's exactly what our DM does, right? Externally. So this is what's happening internally. Then suddenly you're feeling happy one moment, and then you want to just end it all. And then a part of you is like, I want love. And then a part of you is like, you know what? I don't want to get into love because it's going to hurt me. So can you see the eagle and the lion on a daily basis? So these are reflections of unintegrated inner dualities. So the twin flame journey causes us this trigger so much that everything in the surface rises up to get healed. You know what? I'm still trying to upload this video, and it's like it on 60%. It was on 90% and it's now on 60%. And literally they came down to refix the internet and it's worse. I really don't know why. So this is what I mean by, as much as you want to exist in 5D and 6D and 7D all the time, these are 3D problems that still happen within the matrix on a daily basis to torture at you and to remind you that, hey, this is the matrix. So again, my internet situation is one of them. And the best part is, the guy said, I've upgraded the internet right now. And I live in Singapore. I live in Singapore and Australia, both places, right? And lately I've been living in Singapore more. And Singapore really has got amazing internet. I go to my friends, I go elsewhere. But when it comes to my own internet, even though it's the same freaking internet company, it's horrible. But anyway, how I'm trying to infuse this into my teaching is that the internet reflects inner frustration. And not caring about it reflects the ego. So that's what's going on, because you are like trying to exist in this world, and you're trying to do your best. But obviously, you are in this world where people don't operate in terms of, they don't really operate in terms of equality, they operate in terms of uniqueness. So when it comes to consciousness, people are all on their own levels, which is beautiful. But we're all in the same area at the same time, for example. So this is where perceptions differ. And this is why the monks go to the Himalayas specifically, because no one's there. But however, living within the matrix and being totally detached to it, but still connected to it is a very beautiful pathway, which our Bhagavad Gita talks about very beautifully. So anyway, going back to this duality within, where these are the reflections of inner dualities. So the twin flame journey triggers everything so that everything that is within can rise to the surface to be healed. So the whole thing about the lion and the eagle, the push and the pull, the fire and the sky is about dissolving it all, So when we collapse the inner duality, we stop identifying with just one polarity. Hey, I'm always the chaser. I am always spiritual. So this is exactly what I believe. I really hope I'm honoring her work, is what she's trying to say. Because in my own journey, when my DM was coming back, I actually became the runner because I was too afraid to face him at that point. Because of one thing, right? Because I'm so used to life without him in separation. And that fear, that little bit of lingering fear, the pre-union stage, was causing me to run. And then he was coming in totally different. So that's why don't identify that you are always the chaser and your DM is always the runner. Or, you know, I'm always the chaser, I'm always spiritual. No. Again, what is spirituality? I came to a point during the pre-union stage in my own experience whereby I was like, everything, like literally shatter everything, my understanding, my beliefs, everything started shattering. It was no longer about knowledge or facts or wisdom or accessing the Akashic records or channeling. It was a state of nothingness. And of course, service, because that's inbuilt in us. So when that stopped, I started to see that my DM started becoming the chaser, which I talk about it in one of my earlier discourses about the cocoon. When the DM is in the cocoon, if you keep on, when is he going to wake up? When is he going to grow? It's going to affect his growth. But when it comes out of the cocoon and becomes a butterfly, the first thing he's going to look for is you. But where are you at that stage? From my experience, I was like totally in the stage whereby I had accepted the fact that my DM was never ever going to come back. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to live my life. I'm just going to, be connected to the cosmos. I'm just going to, in fact, I was at the path whereby I'd fully gone into like exploring the samadhi stages. I was literally telling my parents, hey, you know what? Firstly, it's the pain, one thing. Secondly, is the confusion, another thing. And for me, it was not even the confusion, because again, as a psychic, again, I thank God for my gifts. I had the clarity of what was going on. But the whole purpose of, I was like kind of angry at my own soul for making these decisions, to being stuck in this position, in this matrix. So I was actually completely detaching myself to my divine masculine at that stage. I was like, you know what? You come, you don't come, it doesn't matter to me. You hate me, you love me, it doesn't matter to me. You're never ever going to talk to me, or you're going to talk to me again, it doesn't matter to me. I am just going to be. So that's when he returned. But one thing about the silent initiate is that he pretended like nothing ever happened, like there was nothing. He came back, and all the time we had lost didn't feel like time was lost. And then we organically rebuilt the relationship again. And that was the point where there was no chaser and there was no runner, but just presence. But all of that has to happen internally first. You have to stop identifying with that one polarity, right? So you need to hold it within you to surrender to both. And that's when you anchor the point of being the 0 point, where polarity dissolves into union. So this is what actually happens. From my own experience, this is what I can share. So that's why, again, bless beautiful Lyora and a beautiful world on talking about the lion and eagle that comes from such a divine place of wisdom, perception, and of course, speaking from cosmic consciousness itself. A beautiful work highlights how the duality shows up within. just like how it shows up externally. So, some of the examples that we can go into is about decision making, like how the lion takes bold action based on desire and the eagle pulls back weights or escapes into the higher realms. So that's why one day you're ready to reach out to your twin, and then the other day you're like, you know what, I'm done with this. Until this stops, this back and forth, which is creating this spiritual static, and which is an energetic instability that delays outer harmony and internal harmony, you are going to constantly be in this polarity state. So remember, the lion anchors you, which is good, grounds you. The eagle breaks out of the matrix. So the eagle is like the Akashic records, visions, and travel and everything. And the lion is about, being rooted. So if you're not bridging them because you are either in either extreme, then you're either over embodied, you're stuck in pain, or you've overly spiritualized everything, which is you're disconnected from reality. So you can't really say, hey, the lion is my DM, the eagle is me, or the eagle is my DM and the lion is. That's not the whole point. The whole point is to recognize when your lion or your eagle is in control or out of control. Because when the lion dominates, you are impatient, you're obsessive, you are looking for validation, you are like, when is my DM coming back? Why is he doing this? Why is he an asshole? And then when the eagle dominates, you are like, I accept him as he is, whatever. You see, both these states are extreme. It's like the pendulum is swinging back and forth, but it's not coming to that 0 point of neutrality, and which I always say in my discourses, neutral thinking. So that's why when the ego dominates, you become numb and detached and avoidant. You see, it's avoidance. You're overly like, I'm okay with everything. And then the lion is like, you're completely opposite. But really, neither is wrong. It's about collapsing the polarity field inside. So that's why the secrets can lie in this as well. Until you collapse the internal duality, your external reality will reflect the separation. So remember, one of you chases, which is the lion, and one runs, the eagle. And when one reaches out, the other detaches. So that's why, without internal balance, you cannot externally try to balance the connection. So when you love deeply, when one loves deeply, the other spiritually detaches. So again, back to my own situation, when my DM was coming back, I just couldn't accept it because a part was like, I don't want to be the lion again. And then the part was like, I'm okay with being the eagle because I would never feel pain again. But you see, either extreme, and then the third energy between us is like waiting to be reactivated and born. So that's when, it was total game changer. But that's why once you have internal harmony, everything starts to fall in place. That's the reason why the focus should never be on our divine masculine. Let him be, let him be, let him be. That's all I can say. Stop being the lion or stop being the eagle. And when you stop being the lion or stop being the eagle, he will stop being the lion or stop being the eagle. And then sacred neutrality is born. And in that birth, true union starts. So I hope, beautiful, I have addressed your question. Of course, if you want me to go into more detail, let me know. But this is what I've got on my perspective on this. Take care and bye-bye.